say that energy doesn't vanish. That when two bodies entangle in sex magic, they leave an echo on the world. Today, we dig into pagan sex magic, its darker legends, forbidden rites, and stories of restless spirits who linger in the wake of erotic ritual. Because sometimes the dead aren't satisfied with what was left behind.
Welcome back to
Let's Get Haunted.
Yep, with Nat,
Aly,
and
Mimi.
You guys, you heard it right. We've got a special guest all up in the studio today. And this is someone who we go way far back with. So if there's anybody who knows who we're talking about from ye olden days, please drop a W in the chat. But for those of you who don't know, Mimi Torres is an actress, producer, artisan, pet furniture maker, single pet mom to 5, and a massive fan of LGH and Nat and Aly. She is living in the wilds of Los Angeles, and she is in a brand new show. It's called Scream and Cry Horror Movie Review, and it follows a goth girl scream and a possessed puppet rat cry, surrounded by a cast of quirky characters as they battle demons and review horror movies in their chamber basement. It is starring E.G. Daily, who is the voice of Tommy Pickles and Buttercup, Mimi Torres, Juliet Landau, who's from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Bill Prokopow, and Dante Paris and Tom Pinto. Scream and Cry Horror Movie Review is now streaming on Amazon Prime Video, Magnolia Selects, and Monsters and Nightmares. And you guys, I have seen this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful actress who is in it, Mimi, and she is serving goth girlfriend realness.
If you're not in love with her yet, you're about to be as soon as you watch Scream and Cry. On this show, we often joke that I'm the straightest person to ever exist, but I tell you what, Mimi, goth Mimi is doing something for me.
Oh my gosh.
Goth Mimi. That's right. Yeah, so Mimi, tell us what you have been up to, because for those of you who didn't figure it out, we've known Mimi for 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. She was on Sugar Pine 7, which is a show we were on that has its own lore. You guys Google it. There's no time, okay? And I don't know when the last time we saw you was. I know you did an episode with Aly on LGH where I was not there.
Correct.
About the children in the house that burned down or something. What was it called?
No, there was one after that too. There was the red...
The red lamp. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's right. And the red lamp, of course. So you know what you're signed up for, but after hearing that hook, are you a little concerned?
I am ready to rock. I have not done an episode with you yet, and I knew you were going to bring the chaos, and so I have been so excited for this. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Honestly, it could be really helpful to have sexy goth girl on here for this episode, because I feel like this is the quintessential sexy goth episode. I was supposed to do something totally different, but then, you know, as chaos usually does, it struck at the last second, and I just saw something kind of cringe and interesting, and I was like, actually, like, I think I just want to research this only. Like, let's, like, put the other topic to bed, and let's just go on Reddit and, like, get super weird. I did some very strange things for this episode, and I feel like my phone is, like, diseased now from what I have done. I don't know how I will explain. I joined, like, erotic discords. I was, like, messaging people on, like, erotic, weird, like, roleplay discords where I was like, hey, I don't know, like, if you guys are actually practicing pagan sex magic or if this is just, like, an edgy, cool way to, like, sell nudes. But I'm, like, really interested in interviewing someone. And, of course, like, crickets. Just crickets from so many different people.
Well, before we get into all that, because I am pumped to hear about sex magic. I can only imagine what that may be. Is that like pulling a rabbit out of a hat while you're boning somebody? Is it you're like, hey, open your mouth, or what's that behind your ear, and you pull out a condom? So I'm very excited to hear about that. But I did want to harp on something that was in Mimi's beautiful introduction, which is that Mimi makes exquisite pet furniture and has even made some pieces inspired by LGH, or has at least designed some pieces,
Yes,
perhaps not in production yet.
I have some pieces that I'm designing that are very haunted themed that I will be sending you guys the blueprints of those. I want them to be approved by you guys first, because I want to like name them like the Haunty and
Oh my god,
stuff like that. But yeah, my dad's a carpenter, so I grew up like doing woodworking stuff, and then I've started to do my own little pet furniture stuff on the side. So
I just love when people have hobbies. We talk about this on the show all the time. Like, people that don't have hobbies to me are just NPCs. And so it's awesome to be friends with someone like you, Mimi, where you have a career and you also have these extracurriculars that you do that are very like hands-on and creative and require a lot of brain power, but also a lot of blue collar know-how. And so I really appreciate that about you.
Aww.
Now, to talk about Scream and Cry a little bit, has this kind of been another creative outlet for you? That is this like something new? I know you've played lots of different types of characters. You have a very extensive voice acting resume that we talked about last time you were on the show. But is this something new, or how was this different from everything else you've done? Because to me, this seems like you flexing a goth muscle that I haven't seen you flex before, at least in recent memory.
yes, this is definitely a new genre for me. Horror is not something I've really ever like tapped into. Well, I guess technically we did a horror movie. Technically we did a horror movie. But it's my first time ever getting to go like full goth, and also my character is the host of the show. So basically it's very Elvira, Svengoolie. We have Magnolia's library of horror movies to review. I'm working with a puppet, which is like such a different kind of artistic challenge that I have loved. We've been working on the show for a couple of years now, but then Magnolia picked us up and was like, we're going to give you guys a season. And so, yeah, we premiered on September 25th, our first 8 episodes. Our second 8 episodes will be out by the time this airs on, they'll be out on October 25th. So there'll be 4 more coming October 25th. And yeah, it would mean the world if you went to Amazon Prime or Magnolia Selects or Monsters and Nightmares and checked it out. I'm in full goth. I've got half black, half red hair. I'm my mother's nightmare. It's lovely. And I'm getting, I get paid to do it. So that's freaking amazing. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely have links below in the show notes for anyone interested.
Thank you.
I feel like that must be so fun to just, get to slip on different aesthetics and different genres of people. What do you call that? Like a genre of person, like like a scene person or like a punk what is that called? It's not just an aesthetic. It's a lifestyle or something.
Yeah, a lifestyle, or just like, I mean, I wouldn't say that being goth is like necessarily like a career path, but like,
I think it could be.
But
I think it could be.
It's just like really far. It's just like really outside of who I am. I think like there's definitely this like dark part inside of me that I've always kind of wanted to let loose. And this is like the safest, most amazing arena to explore it in. And I get to do it with our freaking like childhood idols, which is just like, oh my God. Like I was so nervous to work with EG because I'm like, you're one of the big reasons why I got into voiceover. Like you partially raised me. Like, so it's been
full circle.
Yeah. So it's been crazy. It's been a really fun experience. It is so campy. It is so silly. It is so outlandish. But we're reviewing really, really, really great horror films. So if you like horror films and you like camp, this will be right up your alley.
What about people like me who are like really scared of horror? Because Aly, I think that's her favorite horror. Like The Conjuring is like one of her favorite movies. Aly, feel free to slap me if I'm not speaking correctly for you. But I'm pretty scared of horror movies. What about people like me who like have to turn the volume down all the way and just like not be able to, you know what I mean? Like, is it still scary?
We do show like clips of the film, but like it's stitched in between like really funny moments to like break the tension. So I feel like if you're afraid of horror, but you want to kind of like dive into it, this is a really safe way to do it, because it's like, you know, every minute and a half, you're going to see me in goth. So,
Right.
you know, it's a relief. You get to go, yeah, look at her makeup, you know, and so I think I can save way.
For the horror curious, like
yes.
the people who aren't ready to fully commit and, you know, just want to kind of be able to talk about it with other cool people who do like horror, you know? Because I feel like horror is the cool genre. Like, it's like, I don't know, like people who like drama are like fucking kind of weird. Like, what do you mean you want to like cry and like, oh, my favorite movie is about a couple who was getting divorced and one of their children died. Yeah. So that's my favorite movie. I'm like, what is wrong with, like, either you like comedy or horror, or you can fucking stay 10 feet away from me.
Well, I am more than 10 feet away from you. So my liking of drama it's okay for now. But yeah, no, it's great for anybody who wants to like dip their toe into horror. But also if you're like, I want to watch a horror movie, but like I can't think of one to watch, we're giving you, you know, 12 great examples of horror films that you may have heard of, but like, you know, haven't watched yet, or ones that you did watch a long time ago, and it's a great film to rewatch, you know. And right now, I know we're in spooky season, and once this airs, it will be like a little bit past it, but everyone needs to kind of like slowly roll out of spooky season, so it'll be a good way to like roll out of it as well.
Okay.
Spooky season is a lifestyle when you listen to LGH, and I think that your show is going to really resonate with listeners of our show, because we do talk about a lot of macabre horror, horrific things that occur, from, you know, real life tragedies and true crime to apparently sex magic is now something that is on our radar. So if you guys like our show because you enjoy that we kind of break up the tension with chit chats, I think you're really going to enjoy Scream and Cry, because like Mimi said, it's going to be these clips of different horrific, possibly, moments in horror films, but then also split up with a puppet and Mimi looking hot. And what more could you want? You know, campy is one of my favorite things. I like campy music. I like campy books. I like campy video games. And so I'm really, really pumped for this. My last question for you, Mimi, and maybe Nat has more, but my last one is, did anything haunted happen on set?
Well, I will say that we filmed 12 episodes in 3 days. So it was like a haunted experience but like in the best way. We were also, you know, pumped and so, you know, working so hard to get all the episodes out there. There were these like wonderful moments of like haunted magic that happened where we were able to go off the script, and amazing actors and amazing directors and really cool celebrities that stopped by to do promos with us. So it was haunted in the most beautiful way.
Well, we love a good personal haunting for sure. It's, you know, not everything in life has to be negative and scary. It's good to have a whimsical haunting from time to time, which it sounds like this was.
All right, folks, some breaking news right off the top. Beam's cyber sale is now open for early access for my listeners and their best offer of the year, but only for 48 hours. Right now, my listeners can get up to 50% off, and with my code HAUNTED, you can grab Dream for just $32.50. That breaks down to only $1.08 per night for the best sleep of your life. Go to shopbeam.com/haunted. Use my code HAUNTED and don't miss out. This is the lowest price Dream has ever been sold anywhere and will likely sell out quickly. I've got kids, you guys. I've got horses. I've got podcasts. I've got more roles than Meryl Streep. It's hard for me to turn off, which is why I'm so happy that I found Beam's Dream Powder. It helps me sleep right when I need to. Since I've started using it, Boom, lights out. I go to sleep and I wake up rested. Dream is made with clean, science-backed ingredients like reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin, formulated to help you fall asleep fast, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. No grogginess, no crash. Just deep restorative rest. And here's the best part. It actually tastes amazing. My favorite flavor is sea salt caramel. It's smooth, delicious, and easy to make part of your nightly wind down. Since I've been using Dream, I feel sharper, smarter, hotter, and more focused. So you've been waiting for the right time to try Dream. This is it. Go to shopbeam.com/haunted and use code HAUNTED and get up to 50% off during Beam's cyber sale. You can grab Dream for just $32.50, but here's the catch. Dream is only available at this price until it sells out. So seriously, think about it. How much would you pay for a truly great night of sleep? With Beam's cyber price, it's just $1.08 per night. So go to shopbeam.com/haunted now. And now back to getting haunted. I think having Mimi on this episode is going to be such a positive haunting because this episode is so haunted and like uncomfortable, not in like the usual way that LGH does, but I feel like because it's so weird, like, and I was just like, oh my God, what did I just read? I feel like I had to talk about it with someone. It's like a trauma bonding session here. So
I'm ready.
You guys ready to get into this?
I'm buckled the fuck up.
Funnily enough, Aly made the joke that I wrote into my intro actually already. Isn't that weird? Like you said it and I was like, she already said it. Look, okay, so here, like, oops. I said, hey guys, so today we're talking about pagan sex magic with a K, not to be confused with sexy magic where a guy in a fedora pulls a coin out from behind your ear and calls you m'lady. This is the ancient cosmic kind of magic where your orgasm is the ritual and your body becomes an altar to the divine. So basically, people have been using horny energy to manifest stuff since the dawn of time. From the witch cults of Europe to Crowley's Thelema to modern neo-pagan kink temples in California. This episode is about people who believe sex isn't just physical, it's portal opening. And then the line between pleasure and possession is thinner than you might think. These are real stories of artists, witches, entire covens who claim something came through when they mix sex with summoning. So buckle the fuck up, light a candle, and probably don't do this one naked because today we're going to explore the slippery, spooky world of pagan sex magic. And remember, guys, we're not here to kink shame. We are here to get haunted. So all of this freaky, weird, insane stuff that I'm talking about is probably fine as long as it's between two consenting adults, okay? So if I call you a weird freak, it's really just more of like in the clinical sense. It's not that I'm actually calling you a weird freak.
Wow. Okay. So, well, first of all, I've been known to kink shame on this show before, and we have gotten comments about, like, I can't believe you guys said that. I'm going to be honest, guys, there's some stuff that's just weird out there that I can't relate to, and it's okay for me to think that. Now, I do want to say before we get really deep into this topic, my dad very recently listened to his first episode of Let's Get Haunted. I have never let him listen to our show before, ever. And so, Dad, if you're listening to this right now, I need you to stop. And if any of my dad's friends are listening to this right now, I need you to stop. My dad got really pumped off of our episode we did on Three Eye Atlas earlier this year. And he like listened to it and he sent it to some friends and was like, this is so cool. Dad, I love you very much. Thank you for your support. Don't listen to this one, please, for the love of God.
Yeah, that's funny. It's like all the friends like just get real quiet around this episode. It's like, okay. And this is more of like a don't ask, don't tell type of thing. Like once you hear it, dad's friends, like just let it go.
Yeah, just let it go. Just let it go. Yeah. But to go back to this topic at hand, the first thing that comes to my mind is, aren't orgasms called a little death? So I could see how sex and dark magic might be intertwined. If sex is a form of death and possibly rebirth, if it's really good, then maybe there is an opportunity for some magic to happen.
Yeah, you guys, there's a lot of stuff in this we're going to learn, and it's going to get crazy. So let's go ahead and start with part one. What is sex magic? So the concept of erotic magic is ancient. In many traditions, sexual union is sacral between gods and humans, between the masculine and the feminine. Now, Aly, maybe Mimi, do you guys know what Eros-Gamos is?
No, is that love?
That's a great guess. It's an ancient concept from Greek, meaning quote unquote sacred marriage, which is referring to the union of a god and a goddess or their human representatives. And it's often performed in fertility rituals to bless the land. Oh my God, the cat is making an appearance.
I'm so sorry.
I
can feel its palms on my neck like that. I used to have a cat, and so I just the weight of it, the heaviness of it, and the floppiness of it.
Oh, the baby.
It's giving me ASMR, honestly, but it's also giving me that thing where it's you want to squeeze an animal to death, you know? I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
but I got that too.
Okay, sorry.
So. And we're back. Eros-Gamos, for example, in Greek mythology, is the sacred marriage between Zeus and Hera. And I don't know, do you guys know anything about Greek mythology?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I know
Hercules.
that Zeus liked to fuck, and I know that he took many mistresses, both human and goddesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess Zeus and Hera's marriage was a really rough one. I read a brief blurb on it, and I was like, that's enough about this marriage for me. So I guess he turned himself into a bird, a cuckoo bird, to be less threatening, and then she took pity on him and held him in her hands, and then as soon as she was holding him in her hands, he turned back into a human and raped her. And so I was like, this is not fair, and I don't like that. But she stayed with him, and it's supposed to be she did a bunch of other things, and they were just a toxic relationship, and it's supposed to be an example, I guess, for societies. Look, in this cosmic union, the guy was a terrible dude, and the girl was terrible, and they had a terrible relationship that should not have gone on, but the marriage was sacred, so they stayed together and they figured it out. And I guess it was supposed to be I don't know, on some ancient boomer shit. You know what I mean? They wanted.
Greek mythology definitely had a lot of interesting. The Greeks had an interesting relationship with sex in general, I think. I think that it was more of a free love type of society, and the gods were always getting down in all of the myths that were popularized. So it is kind of interesting, though, because in modern times, I have a lot of girlfriends that really love to read romance novels. And one of my really good friends just openly calls it smut. She's like, sorry, I'm reading my smut. And she'll have it on her phone, too, not just physical books. And I if we're in line for something and it's taking too long, she'll pull out her smut, quote unquote. And it does make me think that is something that's been around for so long. Humans have always been super interested in sex, both the horrific parts of it and the pleasurable parts of it. And some of these myths, these Greek myths, really were smut, it really was a romance novel, and somebody was getting off to it for sure.
That's a good, interesting read on it. I was always just thinking, wow, their, version of their Bible was so much cooler than mine, But you're right. Maybe it was, an ancient smut. And now, we put, this kind of... We always tend to think of, people from the past as being, so different from us today. But maybe, yeah, they were just, in line at the grocery store reading about Zeus, dicking down his wife as a bird.
Probably so. Yeah, carrying tablets, stone tablets, not iPads, and just walking through to buy something at the market.
Wow. A+ pun there. Oh my God. You are just on fire today, Aly. You really are.
What can
I don't know
say?
what's going on over there, but
it's the straight hair. My hair is never straight, so.
The straightest woman alive with the straight hair. It's a combo made in heaven. You guys, fall is the busiest time of the year for me. We got back to school, busier routines, shorter days, and all of these holiday parties. Finding time to cook at this time of year is tough for me. That's why I love Factor. Factor's chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals make it so easy for me to make sure that I'm still nourishing my insides when I'm giving so much away to the outside. My body is a temple, and Factor treats me like the queen that I am. Because Factor has tons of food choices, including premium seafood options, like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. And I like to savor their global flavors, like Asian-inspired meals influenced from places like China and Thailand. Factor helps me live a healthy life when I am too busy to cook. I use Factor to keep me on track when I'm busy, and you should too. Eat smart at factormeals.com/letsgethaunted50 and use code letsgethaunted50 to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code letsgethaunted50 at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. And now back to Getting Haunted. Have you guys heard of, well, first of all, this is an intrusive question, but do you guys do witchcraft ever?
With you guys, remember the Furby incident?
Yeah, the Furby incident.
Oh my God. For those of you listening who are not up on the LGH lore, we used to have very extensive personal hauntings at the beginning of each episode, and this story was one of those personal hauntings. Don't know what episode it was. You got to go back and just listen to the entire discography from start to finish. But we did something once. I believe it was a full moon ritual at Nat's apartment, and we were all sitting in a circle, and we were supposed to bring something important or significant to us so that we could charge during the ceremony. And one of Natalia's extremely haunted friends brought a Furby and all the bad vibes I could ever imagine. Like during the ritual was like, ooh, the Furby, you know, just like really being creepy about it. And and everyone got cursed afterwards is what I remember. I know that a lot of the girls there had really bad luck after this ritual. And all of us collectively decided it was because of, I'm just going to say her name. It was Lydia. Lydia's been interviewed on this show before. I don't think she would care that I'm saying this. It was Lydia and her Furby bringing bad vibes.
I actually, as I was researching this episode, I started to wonder if maybe Lydia practices sex magic because, like, you'll see as we go on. Okay, so I guess, like, in Wicca, there is this thing called the Great Rite, and it's a ritual that involves symbolic sexual intercourse with the purpose of drawing energy from this, like, powerful connection between, like, the masculine and the feminine, and they come together in a union, and essentially it's like you have a chalice or a bowl, and that's like representative of the feminine divine, and then there's a dagger, which is representative of the masculine divine, and you stick the dagger in the bowl, and then I guess like the magic happens, one might say. And so there's lots of cultures who use this EROTO-COMATOSE, lots of different in the East and the West, in the old times and the new times, but today in the West, we call this like Tantra. Do you guys know about Tantra or like tantric sex stuff?
Yes.
Oh, you do, Mimi? Okay,
yes,
enlighten us because...
Well, I've heard of it. I don't know that I could give you like a full accurate rundown, but like, isn't it kind of like edging?
Okay, so that's part of it, is edging. And for those of us who don't even know what edging is, would one of you like to explain what edging is?
It's getting really, really close to the party being at its peak, but stopping before the confetti.
Wow. That was
it's
really
like
good.
Riding the edge of a knife, I guess you could say.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like in the West, we kind of have this association, or at least I do, with Tantra or tantric sex as being kind of like this thing that's been co-opted by new age spiritualists. Like, you know, someone's Karen, you know, is like going through a rough time, and so she goes and takes a class with a bunch of other Karens, and they like are just talking about, you know what it's like? Have you guys seen Meet the Fockers?
Yes. That's what I was thinking. Yes.
You know Ben Stiller's mom? I'm pretty sure she's like a tantric sex like woman, and yeah, she's exactly the stereotype of what I think of when I think of Tantra. But apparently, like, they, in these new age workshops and stuff like that, they'll always say, like, oh, this is actually about, like, harnessing power and achieving enlightenment, and, like, this is like an ancient practice and all this stuff, but it's actually like not that ancient. Apparently,
I didn't know
the majority.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's stuff in the East where Tantra has been going on for a long time, but not in the same way that it's practiced in the West. Like, what is happening when you go to a tantric workshop is not what would happen if you went and did Tantra like over in India or somewhere else. And then the New Age spiritualists, they always say, like, well, actually, many early tantric texts were actually destroyed by the Crusaders, which might be true, but it also just seems like something you might say if you, like, want to, like, touch yourself with a bunch of people in a room and, like, not feel weird about it. You know what I mean? Like, you might just be like, actually, this is normal and it's been going on for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And the texts have been destroyed by the Crusaders, which might be true. I don't know. I was not there during the Crusades. So, sex magic is a defined ritual path, and it's, like I said, relatively modern. Many lineages draw selectively from older erotic or fertility cults that were reinventing Tantra in the 19th and 20th century during, like, occult revivalism, which we've talked about before in the past on this podcast. But essentially, in, like, the 19th and 20th century, people were really excited about the idea of spiritualism. We had, like, tons of wars going on.
Yeah, spiritualism. I definitely remember talking about that on the show before. It was like the Victorian era, right? The Victorians were obsessed. They were having seances. They were covering mirrors so that souls during funerals wouldn't get trapped in the mirror. They were reviving all the spooky shit that I feel like was not socially acceptable in the decades leading up to the spiritualism movement. Is that correct, Natalia, or am I wrong?
I mean, that's part of it. I think there were, like, lots of different paths that people were taking. Like, there was, you know, the Ouija board was kind of popularized during this time, and people were interested in communing with the dead, etc. Part of that could be because there was it was so taboo, right? And so misunderstood. Or it could also be because people were confused about death in general, because there was so much death going on with, you know, the Great War, World War I, World War II, like all, and just sickness. Like, people generally died a lot more often, more frequently, and people closer to you would die more often back then. And so, yeah, people had an interest of wondering what happens after you die then, you know? Mm-hmm. And so there's a bunch of different ones we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about every single one. I'm just picking, like, the most haunted. So you're basically going to get, like, a charcuterie board of early sex magic here, and I'm picking, like I said, the most haunted. So there was, by the 20th century, vocabulary surrounding sex magic had been, like, crystallized by all of these different sex cults. One of them was this guy named Paschal Beverly Randolph. Have you guys ever heard of this guy?
No. Mm-mm.
No? Okay. I am going to bring up a picture of him. So basically, this guy, he framed sexual magic as a spiritual path, which would weave together spiritualism, occultism, and erotic ritual. He taught that the moment of orgasm was actually a breach into the divine, and he said that sexual energy could be harnessed for magical intention. Let me show you guys a picture. What do you think this guy's going to look like?
I'm guessing a large beard.
And a ponytail that looks unwashed.
Yeah.
And a ponytail that looks unwashed.
Maybe a tunic. Maybe like a white tunic.
Mm.
That's a good guess.
I'm just picturing
like Hagrid.
Hagrid. You know what? I'm picturing something in between Hagrid and anybody that you could find at Burning Man in the orgy tent. You know, like something in between those two things.
It actually surprised me what this guy looked like.
Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, a little bit.
Does he look like Leonardo DiCaprio?
In
a little bit.
The Unchained.
Django.
Django
Yes.
Unchained.
Yes. Doesn't he?
He does look a little bit like, yeah. It's a little bit Colonel Sanders if he was using the Hair for Men Club or whatever it's called, just for men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy to see that there is a beard, but it's not as full as I thought it would be.
It's well kept.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys see the title of the book that he's published in?
Yes. Okay. Seership, Guide to Soul Sight, a practical guide for those who aspire to develop the vision of the soul, the magic mirror, and how to use it. Yeah. Oh.
Does that sound like they be fucking to you guys? Like, does
No.
like when you open up that book, does that title sound like, and by the way, the orgasm is a breach into the divine?
No.
No, definitely
I know,
not.
it's like, this whole thing feels like to me it's like a trick. I'm not sure. Like, is this just a way for people to get other people to fuck? Like,
is that a real question? If it is,
yes.
Yeah, I can go off about the hippie movement and why I don't trust it. We've done so many episodes in the past on quote unquote hippies, and the thing that I always come back to is it's usually a charismatic man that wants an excuse for having a lot of female partners. And it's not ethical. Yep. And a lot of the time it's like pumping drugs into people. Sometimes there's underage women involved or girls involved. Sometimes it's like just a full on cult. Like we covered the Yellow Deli cult in the past. And yeah, it's just hard for me to trust people. I think, I don't know, this could just be a me problem, but it is hard for me to want to trust a guy with a beard that's trying to trick me into believing that if I have sex with him, I'm going to have a divine experience. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I see what you're just trying to get something out of this and you're trying to pretend like it's scientific. But maybe this is actually going to make me understand that all of those people were just trying to help people have a magical time. I don't know.
I don't know. The jury's honestly, it's kind of out on that one. I don't know, because part of me is like, am I depriving myself of the best sex of my life if I'm just like always skeptical of someone who is like, actually, the sex we're going to have tonight is going to give you all of your wildest dreams, right? Like, you're like, okay, buddy, see you never, you know? But like, what if they're actually telling the truth?
Try
is
anything
it worth
once?
the risk?
Yeah, try anything once. But then what if it actually works? What if the person is like, hey, we're going to rip open a space-time continuum portal and I'm actually going to transport you to the surface of Mars 20,000 years ago, and then we're going to come back and you're not going to be able to tell anybody about this because you're going to sound like you're insane, and bye, never see you again. That would almost be worse, I think.
Like if you got stuck, your consciousness got stuck on Mars?
No, that would also suck. But just like having that experience, I think would just suck. Because you can't talk to anyone about it. You're just, oh yeah, I met a dirty guy in the woods and he told me if I banged him, he'd transport my consciousness to Mars temporarily. So I thought, fuck it, I'll try it. And it worked, guys. Everyone would just be like, we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that makes sense.
yeah. They all make promises like that, though.
Yeah.
I think if you were already having sex with dirty men in the woods, then it's like you have nothing to lose. So I feel like you should try it, you know? Yeah. Okay, so this next guy we're going to talk about is pretty close to just like a dirty dude you meet in the woods. This guy, Aleister Crowley. Have you guys heard of this guy?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I've heard a lot of him too, but I had no idea the bullshit that he was on, which, like I said, if it's real, goddamn, it's cool. But if it's not real, this guy is literally just a psychopath. Let's talk about him. So Aleister Crowley and his circles formalized many techniques of sex magic. Crowley coined EROTO-COMATOSE lucidity. EROTO-COMATOSE lucidity. Do you guys know what that is? Can you take a guess what eroto-comatose lucidity might be?
It sounds like non-consensual things.
Yeah. It sounds like lucid dreaming, but with a sex component, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's a state of partial consciousness achieved through extended sexual stimulation, which is often non-orgasmic, to commune with deities. So essentially, like, edging, but with like candles and shit. So he said that once you got into this state, like the EROTO-COMATOSE lucidity, you were essentially like, you were in like a psychic sort of state. You were more aware of things. The veil was thinner. It's like a portal's open. All of that haunted stuff. But I should say most modern people and witches denounce Crowley's use of sex magic because they say it's problematic and self-serving, and there's many reasons for this. But one of them is that he was a high-ranking member of the secret society called ORDO, TEMPLI, ORIENTIS, which used sex rituals during initiation ceremonies. And apparently Crowley was trying to discover new forms of sex magic by advertising for females. His advertisements just said, like, searching for, quote unquote, freaks of all sorts to engage in sex rituals. And some of those advertisements by Crowley were seeking out specifically women who had disabilities or like bodily deformities, because he was thinking that it would like be a different kind of magic. So it was like, I don't know, kind of sus. Maybe good. Like, maybe good if, like, you're trying to get laid and you can't. But maybe, yeah, maybe, okay, so that's one way to look at it. Like, maybe it was good because it was inclusive. I don't know. What do you think, Aly?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. It's really tough to say. What lies within the heart of man at any given time? Are the intentions pure or are they not? I certainly never met the man, so
yeah,
who's to say?
Who's to say?
Crowley was a really tortured man. He was suspected of being a traitor to England during the Great War. They said that he was aiding the Germans, so he was super stressed out. He was also suffering from asthma attacks, so a doctor prescribed him heroin as a cure. And this is where things kind of get haunted. After his heroin prescription, he starts making all of these journal entries about rituals and the worship of this goddess, Thelema, which included consecrating someone called the Scarlet Woman, aka Leah Hersig, who was like his sex partner of his sexual identity that he called the Beast 666. And the two of them together put on these like identities. He was the Beast 666 and she was the Scarlet Woman. And they would go on to found this church called the Abbey of Thelema in Italy. Now, I don't know if you guys know a lot about Italy. It's a very Catholic place. And apparently the stuff that was going on in the Abbey of Thelema in Italy was so immoral that Mussolini himself kicked them out of Italy. Yeah. So if Mussolini is kicking you out of Italy for being immoral, it's probably not a very good sign. So do you guys know what Thelema is?
No. This is new to me.
Yeah, so Thelema is like their fake religion that they made up, I guess. It's based on the Greek word Thelema, which means will, and I guess their core tenet is to, quote unquote, do what thou wilt, which refers to discovering and living in accordance with one's true will or unique purpose in life rather than personal whims. So I guess they believed that everyone had a true purpose in life and they had to figure out what it was to fulfill it. And I guess like the best way to figure out what your purpose in life was to like get sexed on by the beast. These sex magic rituals that they were doing were a lot, okay? So, writing in his journal about a Catholic Italian woman, Aleister Crowley wrote, quote, I wanted to make love to her. I wanted to smoke a few pipes of opium with her, she being a devotee of that great and terrible god, end quote. So he was like out willingly try to convert like Catholics in Italy to his religion with sex, which was heavily frowned upon by the Catholics at the time. He also wrote about astral projecting, but it's like not really clear, was he high or was he astral projecting, or did he need to be high in order to astral project? He wrote, quote, Leah and I have both had hallucinations. Last night, she thought I was outside the house, in her room, in the kitchen, all within a few minutes. I was actually in bed. but out of the astral in Sabbath. Incidentally, she dreamt that I was preparing some magical ceremony. In another journal entry, he says, "Hell, a night of it again. It was a short poem that I had in mind, possibly 5 or 6 quatrains. Cocaine elaborated it to this 5-hour epic, 51 quatrains. Trying a new method of taking cocaine. Larger doses at longer intervals. Last time I had an hour or so of the impatient nervousnesses. Tonight, none." End quote. What do you guys think of his studies?
It sounds like your freshman year of college when you're like experimenting with things and, your poetry gets really intricate and fun because you're opening your brain to different stuff. I don't know. I think maybe there's something to adding substances to get you to see things that you don't normally see.
Yeah, that part I think most of our listeners will be familiar with. We've interviewed people before in the past, for example, that have done mushrooms, and then they say that they had some sort of psychic connection with their father that came and found them in the woods. I'm thinking specifically of an episode Natalia did last year on our What's Haunting You Halloween miniseries. There have also been examples of people doing DMT and they see the machine elves, and that's how they know that we're all in a simulation, because everybody that does DMT sees the machine elves, allegedly. That part to me doesn't seem that strange of an idea because I feel like it still persists today. But this whole idea of this sex cult getting kicked out of Italy is actually reminding me a little bit of our episode on Rasputin we did earlier this year, because Rasputin was rumored to be involved with the Klisti, which was a sect of Christianity in the Russian Empire. This is pre-USSR. And in that sect of Christianity, the people were having sex as part of their religion because their idea was in order to get closer to God, you need to sin a lot. And if you sin a lot, then you can ask for forgiveness from God. And then in that relationship, you're speaking with God more frequently. So this seems...
actually makes sense. Like, kind of. Right?
Yeah, I mean... yeah, who knows, man? I don't know. But yeah, it does remind me a little bit of what you're saying right now. I don't think it's a new idea that, incorporating sin or sex into your religion, but I can see why Mussolini, who was a brutal dictator that was trying to keep law and order, would be like, you guys got to get the fuck out.
Hey guys, it's Nat. I'm not feeling so slay right now. I was the maid of honor in a very chaotic wedding this weekend, and I forgot to take my BLISSY silk pillowcase with me. I'm used to my skin glowing. I'm used to my hair being frizz-free. I'm used to being hydrated and moisturized, and now look at me! I had to put a pimple patch over a part of my face because I'm too hideous to be seen. It's all because I left my BLISSY silk pillowcase at home. If you start sleeping on a BLISSY silk pillowcase, you'll know what I mean, because you're gonna see healthier hair and skin in just weeks. Because BLISSY silk pillowcases have anti-aging properties. They reduce fine lines and wrinkles. They eliminate frizz, preserve hairstyles, and protect color-treated hair. They're dermatologist tested and recommended. They're naturally hydrating silk fibers. They're antibacterial and hypoallergenic, and they're naturally cooling and breathable. Plus, now they're available at Target. But because you're a listener, BLISSY is offering 60 nights risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/LGHpod. That's BLISSY.com/LGHpod and use code LGHpod to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. And now back to getting haunted.
You guys, I just sent in the chat a couple paragraphs. Now, I was wondering if you guys would do me the honor of reading this Wikipedia page about the sex magic of Aleister Crowley. Yes. Okay. So, I don't know. Mimi, you want to take the first text box and Aly take the second? I'm going to read a couple sentences and then you take it from there. Wikipedia says, Crowley first described the rite in a tract titled EROTO-COMATOSE Lucidity. The ritual as described by Crowley involves one ritualist seer and several aids. Donald Michael Craig advises that the more sexually experienced the aids are, the better the ritual works, and that the aids can be members of the opposite sex, but religious scholar Hugh Urban concludes that for Crowley, aids of the same gender as the ritualist also known as homosexual activity, would actually be the highest stage of practice of this ritual.
In the first part of the ritual, the aides repeatedly seek to both arouse sexually and exhaust the ritualist. The ritualist is generally passive in this regard. There is disagreement over whether sexual arousal is enough or sexual orgasm must be eventually accomplished. Crowley and others argue that orgasm must be avoided. Although later practitioners conclude that orgasm does not need to be avoided, that was how Crowley originally formulated the ritual. Most practitioners agree with Crowley that every means of arousal may be used, such as physical stimulation, genital stimulation, psychological stimulation devices such as sex toys or drugs, and entheogen like hashish, marijuana, or other aphrodisiacs. There should be enough aids so that if one aid tires, another may take his or her place. Eventually, the ritualist will tend to sink into sleep due to exhaustion.
In the second part of the ritual, the aids seek to come close to awakening the ritualist through sexual stimulation alone. The goal is not to fully awaken them, but rather to bring them to the brink of wakefulness. Not all authors agree that the ritualist seer will be in a state between sleep and wakefulness, instead asserting that exhaustion will lead to a trance or quote-unquote sleep of lucidity. The ritualist should be neither too tired nor too uncomfortable to aid in the trance-like state. Once the ritualist reaches a near waking state, sexual stimulation must stop. The ritualist seer is then permitted to sink back toward, but not into, sleep. This step is repeated indefinitely until the ritualist reaches a state between sleep and wakefulness in which communing with a higher power may occur. Some say a goal during this time is to not become quote-unquote lost in the trance-like state, but to remain open without directing an outcome. The ritualist may also conduct spiritual work while in this state or witness mystical events. Exhaustion may not be necessary for the ritualist who is, quote-unquote, bodily pure, Crowley writes. The rite may end in one of two ways. The ritualist may simply sink into total sleep, or they may achieve orgasm and then sink into a deep and undisturbable sleep. Jason Newcomb, however, concludes that sexual exhaustion achieved through repeated orgasm may also lead to the ritualistic state and does not necessarily end the rite. Frater UD, however, has argued that the orgasmic moment should not be lost and that the individual should strive to use the moment for spiritual or magical purposes. Upon awakening, the ritualist seer could, for example, write down everything they had experienced, witnessed, or been told. At least one author concludes that what is desired should be focused on throughout the rite, and that the individual should not be distracted from it or free of desire. Crowley also intended that when men do the ritual, any semen or quote-unquote elixir produced by orgasm must be consumed by the ritualist, possibly in a Crowley-inspired cake of light. What is a cake of light?
Girl, I don't know, but what do they mean? You gotta eat your own cum? Like, what?
Is he saying you have to eat your own, or is he saying that your partner needs to eat it?
No, I think he's saying when men do the ritual, any semen produced by orgasm must be consumed by the ritualist.
Oh.
Right?
Huh.
Isn't the ritualist the person who's getting orgasmed?
Yeah.
Oh, no. It says the ritualist is generally passive in this regard.
Oh.
Okay. Then the first part of the ritual, the aides repeatedly seek to both arouse sexually and exhaust the ritualist. The ritualist is generally... No, it is. They want you to eat your cum.
All right, well, Aleister Crowley, see, the thing is, like, how do people come up with these ideas? Ghosts make sense to me, monsters make sense to me, myths make sense to me, but what has to happen to you in your life for you to be like, okay, sex magic?
Well, okay, it could be really powerful because as we're going to go, like, this guy is kind of a meme, and that's why I'm, like, talking about him, because it's just funny to think of, like, people in their cars on their way to work being like, but actually the moment of orgasm is the most important part, like, you know? But we're going to talk about stuff where it's actually, like, it seems kind of legit, because I was reading this one, like, pagan Wiccan thing, and they were talking about how, like, union of the masculine and the feminine can create life, right? Like it could create, in cases, like a child, right? Like it could create life. And so they're saying that like the symbol of that is that the energy could also create something new, right? Like magic. Like it doesn't have to necessarily be life as like a baby. It could be life like your desires, or life like a new timeline, or life like the new job or a new intention, right? So like I kind of get it, but I think this guy was just a weirdo who wanted to drink his own semen. Also, can you imagine some dude like jerking it or whatever and people just like around, they're like, no, don't finish, it's not quite time yet. And then somebody else is like, no, the moment of orgasm is upon us. And like, it's just like the least sexual thing I can think of. Just like a bunch of weird people. Okay, you guys got to see what this guy looked like too, because I feel like it's never the ones you suspect. You know, he looks like someone's like dad who sells cars or something. Okay, look.
He looks a little bit like a thumb or a toe, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't necessarily have such an averse reaction to somebody like this unless I had just read there are like 5 paragraphs on what you have to do in order to what? I think that's what I'm not understanding. What does the magic do? Mm-hmm. Like, is it that, oh, I really want to be rich, so I need to do this sex magic ritual. Oh, I really want to be famous. I need to do this sex magic ritual. I really want to be smarter. I need to do this ritual. Like, what are they trying to get other than to eat?
Off.
Yeah, other than off.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because what is making it magic? That's what the part that I'm not understanding.
Yeah, I haven't, like, where are the ghosts at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, yeah, somebody is making pottery and then a ghost comes up behind them and they're having a sensual time. Or yeah, that you were going to be shuttled through a portal to Mars, or that you were going to, I don't know, like insert paranormal thing here. This all just sounds like very not paranormal to me. This just sounds like you're doing very terrestrial stuff.
Yeah, it seemed really weird to me, and that's why I put him at the front, because I was like, I don't know if this guy was like haunted or haunted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's move on. Modern pagan and neo-pagan traditions sometimes incorporate erotic mysticism or sexual symbolism, but it's not always full ritual sex. Sometimes it literally is like a symbolic union, like we talked about the bowl and the dagger, or they're going to do some sort of union of sorts, but it's not necessarily sex, but sometimes it is. Now, why would that attract ghosts or hauntings, are you asking? Well, the intensity of the sexual ritual can be thought of as a quote-unquote shock to the boundary between worlds. Unfulfilled sexual or magical intention also might leave a psychic residue. Also, taboo, guilt, or violent ritual elements like abuse, sacrifice, invocation of dark spirits might open doors beyond intent. And lastly, if spirits are invited, willingly or not, they might stay behind.
Let's quickly talk about a case study of where the veil might have gotten so thin during sex magic that it invited in something little spooky. We are going to talk today about ROSALEEN Norton, who is also known as the Witch of King's Cross. Now, ROSALEEN is a very controversial figure. To some people, ROSALEEN is a feminist icon.
Are you ever sorry you didn't have, or you don't have a life that, say, ordinary people have, like getting married and having children?
Oh, God, no, I couldn't stand it. I'd get mad.
To other people, she was in talks with the devil.
In the name of the horned god, above and below, within and without, around and about, here and there.
Basically, ROSALEEN was a woman who lived at a time that being unique wasn't necessarily accepted. Or, in simpler terms, basically this lady had crazy eyebrows and she kept drawing the devil, and it was freaking out all of the Australians. ROSALEEN herself said that she lived in a tent in her backyard for 3 years when she was a teen. During this time, she kept tons of pets, spiders, tortoises, cats, goats, toads, and she was even expelled from school for drawing vampires and demons and other occult figures. At this time, she called herself Thorn. She also wrote in another language, an old Kabbalistic form of writing which used ideograms pentagrams for spiritual states instead of letters of the alphabet. She was also worshipping Pan, who was a god of the wild. Now, the details are all a little murky depending on where you're getting your sources from, but basically ROSALEEN started saying that when she was born, she had witches' marks. A strand of flesh that hung on her body, pointed ears, and blue marks. She also told a story about how she was born during a thunderstorm. Babies who were born during a thunderstorm were thought to have special powers. Now, all of this would have gone basically unnoticed, and ROSALEEN may have never made this episode, but in 1949, at the University of Melbourne's Roden White Library, there was an exhibit with 46 paintings that were by ROSALEEN. The paintings had titles like Witch's Sabbath, Merlin, Lucifer, and the Initiate. The paintings depicted pagan gods and what some might call erotic mysticism. When ROSALEEN talked about her paintings, she alluded to the paintings being drawn during psychic experiments and rituals. This might not sound like that big of a deal in today's cultural climate, but in 1949, ROSALEEN's behavior put her in hot water. The exhibition was raided by police and 4 artworks were seized. ROSALEEN Norton was charged under the Police Offenses Act of 1928. Some people thought that ROSALEEN was being unfairly targeted because she was openly bi, wore men's clothing, and her house was decorated with occult insignia. Tabloids began calling her a witch and accused her of holding black masses. Somewhere around this time, ROSALEEN started leaning into her image of being a witch. ROSALEEN began giving her own statements about being a witch. Now, I didn't know ROSALEEN, so I don't know if she was just taking the piss out of everyone and leaning into the chaos. The art of ROSALEEN Norton was published in 1952, and it included a painting by Norton of a demon with a snake penis. The publisher was charged with publication of an obscene text, and 2 images in the book were deemed obscene in order to be removed from the book. In the US, copies of the book were destroyed at customs. The Australian police raided the home of ROSALEEN and her partner and found photographs of what they called quote-unquote unnatural sex. Both ROSALEEN and her partner, Gavin Greenlease, were charged. Greenlease was a poet and a huge supporter of Norton's work and lifestyle. According to the sources, Greenlease and Norton established a coven and further explored the occult, LSD, and their version of sexual freedom and progressive living. But Greenlease started hearing voices telling him to kill ROSALEEN. Had the sex magic opened up a door that should have stayed closed? Or was Gavin mentally unwell? In 1955, Gavin Greenlease was admitted to a psychiatric hospital and diagnosed with schizophrenia. Greenlease was supposed to spend the rest of his life in a psychiatric hospital. Now, I know what you're thinking. Psychiatric hospitals in 1955 were basically just a way to get rid of people who didn't necessarily agree with the authorities. But in 1964, Greenlease was released, and the first thing that he did was attack ROSALEEN with a knife. Some people think that ROSALEEN and Gavin opened up a door to a portal they should have never played with. After attacking ROSALEEN with the knife, Greenlease was sent back to the psychiatric hospital until 1983 when he was released. But in a sad twist of fate, Greenlease died the same year. He was only 53. Some people think that he was cursed by ROSALEEN. ROSALEEN's reputation took off by storm. The Rolling Stones supposedly wrote Sympathy for the Devil based on her. In the 1960s, ROSALEEN allegedly started a business making hexes and curses for people. Supposedly, ROSALEEN predicted the AIDS viral outbreak and even the time and place of her own death. After ROSALEEN's death, people claimed they heard unexplained, disembodied laughter in her studio and saw flickering lights in rooms that she once used for her rituals, along with apparitions in the mirrors. Because ROSALEEN embraced erotic pagan symbolism, ROSALEEN became the face for warning stories about witchcraft going wrong. To this day, people claim that her former studio and home is haunted by her. Neighbors say they can hear whispers, erotic sighs, and footsteps coming from the walls. So was ROSALEEN just a victim of a conservative press? Or was she really a witch who consorted with the devil and sex magic? I don't know, but the story sure fits right into our episode.
So we are going to now read some haunted Reddit comments. It's time for unhinged Reddit comments, guys. So I don't even know. I don't know if I should say people's usernames from Reddit for these posts, because I'm like, girl, I don't think you want people to know you wrote this, right?
I mean, they wrote it.
They wrote it? Okay.
In public. But I don't know.
I would say cite them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This one came from Curious Wizard 23. Sex magic that worked unexpectedly well for me. It's tagged under sharing or experience. I figured I should share my experiences and observations from my month-long practice of sex magic. It's quite simple, and it worked wonders for me. I also ignored a key warning lots of people told me to avoid, but I guess you duck around and find out, lol. So, the ritual is quite simple. I followed Damon Brand's Adventures in Sex Magic and the procedure you do alone. I usually pull up a porn and masturbate, but before I start masturbating, I focus on the goal. Then I ignore the intention completely and go about my business. And right before reaching orgasm, I simply bring my focus to my intention, and that's pretty much it. I used it on different persons throughout the month and had amazing results. I was able to place a specific memory in someone's dream.
Oh.
They never had the experience. I was daydreaming earlier. I had someone call me to hang out at their place 3 days in a row. I also had someone come out during heavy pouring rain where I honestly wouldn't go out if I wasn't just bored. The downside is not knowing when to stop and how much sex magic you need. I remember posting on a sub about sex magic maybe a month or two earlier, asking people to share their experience, and remember a few people telling me not to overdo it. Well, when you overdo it, it seems to overwhelm the target sometimes, and if they're good at sensing energy or into the occult, chances of it fucking up is slightly more than your average Joe or Jane. But I'd say there should be a way out of overwhelming somebody. I just don't know what it is yet. The person that responded the most from it is actually quite good at sensing energies, and I made great progress with her through this. But I also did it multiple times a day for a few days straight, and that seemed to have overwhelmed her a little. Another person that I implanted a memory on doesn't seem to mind it. I suppose it comes down to how much someone wants you. If someone is already head over heels for you, they seem to ignore everything else. But it's a new relationship or a new friendship. It might be a little tricky. Also, in my experience, sex magic worked best for me when I was already in conversation with someone and they had a positive feeling toward me. I also tried it on my ex, but I didn't hear anything from her yet. Also, important to note that not everyone will tell you how they're feeling about you. So even if my ex, who I didn't interact with for months, felt something or was affected by my sex magic, I wouldn't know unless she chose to tell me. That's it. I've had a lot of fun exploring possibilities with sex magic, and I'll continue practicing. I would say it definitely gives you an extra opportunity to do whatever you wanted to do faster, but overdoing it will probably overwhelm the target, so I'd say tread carefully. Cheers. That one's pretty vanilla, but what do you guys think? Okay, can I say what I think?
Yeah.
Since you guys are shocked. What do you mean? Is the purpose of her sex magic to bring people over to have sex with her? Or them? Or whoever this is? Because that's what I was confused about. It's like, yeah, I did sex magic on this person. I got them to come over and have sex with me. Because I'm like, I feel like, yeah, that's usually how you get people to have sex with you, is you're like horny and like, hey, you want to come over and have sex with me? You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm confused. Is it, yeah, what did they just want, like, to make, did they just want to get into people's heads, or did, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, like, all around not understanding this at all. So is it like, hey, you set your intention and then you just edge forever until someone texts you? Like, so if your intention is like, I want this person to come over in the rain, and then the act of the edging makes them come over, I guess that's what I'm not understanding. Is it in
memory?
Yeah, is it intention setting? Yeah, the implanting a memory, that almost got me interested, because I was like, okay, cool. This is like Inception, right? This is a concept that I could think of that would be neat, like visiting someone in their dream, or placing a false memory in someone's head. Those seem like tangible ways to figure out whether or not the magic is working. Everything else to me seemed really lame. Like, oh, somebody came to my house in the rain and no one ever visits me ever, so it must have been the magic. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I feel like we're missing chunks from this guy's comment. Like, did you text them asking to come over? Did they just randomly show up 3 days in a row unprompted? Because those are different. Like, to me, it's like different levels of how much I want to believe that this works, right?
Yeah. I mean, so I think because sex is so adjacent to love, there are a lot of like people trying to get people to like them. And so I feel like they'll do sex magic with the intention of making this person like them, which is crazy if you think about it. Because someone was like talking about it and it was like, so what does this mean in the context of like OnlyFans? Like, if you have so many people masturbating to you and what you look like and like focusing on you, what does it do? And then someone else was like, well, it would make the companies and the people who are putting out that content extremely wealthy and have all of their desires. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know, guys. It makes sense if you don't think about it, but Alyssa will like this one. So Fishbait Mo 2 years ago said, my 2 nesting partners and I charged a sigil we made for getting a house with sex magic. We moved into a lovely house with enough room for us and our kids a few months later, and we've been here for nearly 3 years now. So I guess you could get a house out of it?
Okay. I just don't understand this at all. I'm so lost.
And so,
okay, what about...
So, sorry. So they're not coming. Sex magic means no coming. So it's like
some people do come. Here, let me read this next one to you guys, because like we're here together. This is what I meant. I was like, we got to talk about this. I feel like this information, because I actually discovered a new subreddit that like was just made like a few months ago for the purpose of this. You guys, we are on the fucking heels of a revolution here. We are pioneers in a field right now, okay? A field of come and not coming. All right, now this one from Consistent Lawyer 251, which I feel like that's a pretty credible name. They're a consistent lawyer, you know? They said, I carved my intention's name in a white or red candle. I set the environment to quiet and sensual and allow myself to fully relax. Then right as I orgasm, I say my intention's name 3 times.
It's showtime.
Then I thank the spirits for helping me and I blow out the candle. Usually I pinch the flame to extinguish it, but with sex magic, I use my breath. Alyssa's face.
I'm like bewildered. I'm so bewildered. So is the purpose of sex magic then, to go back to my original question that I asked at the end of the Aleister Crowley stuff, which is, what are they trying to get? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Like, what is the magic supposed to be manifesting? It sounds like you only use it to get attention or love from another person, right?
Well, that's a conversation that's happening. So DCRSNL12 said, love is one of the greatest and most powerful magic. If you have true love, then it's magic every time. I truly believe that true sex magic can only be found in true love. The intent behind love makes it happen naturally and powerfully. Okay, but then Minnesota 420 said, draw a sigil using the word method. Masturbate and then visualize the sigil in your mind's eye as you climax. The other one I heard of was called onking, and that's where you visualize an Egyptian ankh with the loop over your head and the cross on your shoulders and the tail through the center of your body. You climax and move the energy around in a loop from the right side to the left side, down through your feet and back up through your left side. Do you feel like that like Egyptian eye you saw in your room now, Aly, is like maybe someone was masturbating, sending like an Egyptian eye out to you, and they're like, I placed a memory. It worked. I heard her on the podcast say that she saw my eye in her room.
No, that has never once occurred to me, and it will never again. I'm gonna be deleting this episode from my memory as soon as we sign off. So this person now is saying that the real magic comes from when you have sex with someone that you're in love with. That's how you get the magic to happen. But I'm still unclear about what the magic actually is. And I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I might just be misunderstanding something. That's why I keep asking. It's not because I like feel like I missed a sentence or something about like what are they trying to achieve? What is the magic
I think it's
happening?
anything you want. I think it could be, oh, I want to get $1 million. So then like you think about $1 million, or you think about, oh, I want to get this teaching position. So then you think about that teaching position. Oh, I want my hair to grow 6 inches. You think about your hair long. Like, I think it could be anything, the intention. But I think the nature of sex is so adjacent to lust and love and relationships that a lot of people can't turn the horniness off while they're doing the sex magic and get the $1 million. Instead, they're doing stupid shit like trying to get a soulmate. You know?
I see. Okay.
So that would then make the people who are in love and doing it together more powerful because they're not focusing it on two different people. They're focusing on an idea together. So are they more powerful because they can turn off the horny switch because they know, like, we've got something consistent going?
Oh.
That is a good point, Mimi. Yeah, two heads are better than one.
On your to Mimi's point though, does that mean that like an old married monogamous couple who's just like having sex cuz like they just have to, and you know it's like baloney's flopping in the wind and it's not sexy and they're not into it, is that actually the people who are most primed to get what they want because the sex is so void of horniness? It's just,
or is the energy not good there because there's not the love behind it? Does the love does the love power and the lust power? I don't know.
No, I see what you're saying. And I think that there is something, okay, so like I'm just talking about celebrities now. I feel like when a celebrity is at like their most peak of their height fame, they always end up in a relationship with some like random fucking person and then they like end up breaking up or something like that. But it's always at like the peak of their fame. Is that sex magic? If you think about it, right? Like, are they able to get everything they want because that random person has like somehow positioned them in their life, and so,
or they're the people that run everything in Hollywood pull two people that are at their peak together, because isn't it like they say PR. Like there's like PR couples, so maybe sex magic is a Hollywood thing and they're putting these people together. Yeah.
Mimi, okay, this is the first thing that's happened that's made sense to me. Okay, I'm on board now. Yes, I could see that being the case. Like, you have some dark practitioner with all the power, and the person's like, you know what? I need another box office hit. I'm going to take this person that I represent. I'm going to set them up with this person, and we're going to do some sex magic here, and we're going to really bring all of our careers into the forefront of pop culture.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. I know. Isn't it crazy that every single male and female lead in Spider-Man of all the iterations have always ended up together? You're right.
That is crazy. Spider-Man is sex magic.
I'm on board now. And just like that, I'm back in it, guys.
We got her back.
Well, you guys made me so self-conscious that I skipped like a huge part of this episode because I was like, they hate this. Like, skip this part. So we're in the most unhinged part right now. And maybe we skipped a little bit too much of the episode. But what happened is that through my searching or whatever, I happened upon someone who was like, is there a subreddit for people who have sex with spirits? And everyone was like, no. And they're like, should I make one? And they made one and I found it. It's called Spirit Sex, r/Spirit Sex. It's brand new. It was only made like a few months ago. I think July 9th, 2024. And I wrote, I put in the chat there the little blurb for spirit sex if one of you guys wants to read it.
Go for it, Mimi. I'm pulling up spirit sex on my phone.
All right, spirit sex. A community for people who have sex with spirits, whether those spirits are gods, ghosts, tulpas, altars, servitors, egregores, or figments of our imagination. If you're having completely consensual sex with people who aren't there, if you see and feel raunch from persons who, if they exist, certainly don't have a body of their own, this sub is for you. We aim to provide a welcoming, magical, and imaginative environment. We might also talk about spiritual aspects of sex. Maybe. Created July 9th, 2024.
Wow.
Now, Aly, we'll read some in depth, but because you have it open right now, do you want to describe the atmosphere of r/spirit sex?
Well, okay, so I sorted by top posts of all time, which again, keep in mind that this sub has not existed for very long, but the top posts of all time are: when you're having sex with a spirit and your spouse at the same time, is it rude to respond more to the spirit than the spouse? Second most upvoted post: why is sex with spirits discouraged? So we all know most religious traditions and a lot of guru types discourage engaging in spirit sex. Some call entities who would do this vampiric, some call them base, some say they'll form attachments that can sap our energy and bring us down. I deny none of this. I've seen the same with people. Sex is dangerous, yo. Love and sex alike encourage neurological changes that create devotion and an illusion that our mate is perfect. This leads to us having difficulties evaluating the salience and truth value of what they say or encourage. It makes it hard for us to spot red flags, and it presents us with an incomparable joy that can create an addiction to them. Bad relationships can utterly destroy us. Religion traditionally proposed marriage as the solution to the physical side of this problem, but I think any relationship structure people negotiate with full awareness and freedom is perfectly acceptable, and I see no reason sex with spirits needs to be any different. Fact is, good relationships lift us up, offering us the emotional support and encouragement we need to grow, learn, and be our best selves. This is, in fact, the single best way to judge the health of any relationship. Is it making you stronger or weaker, more or less independent, more or less confident, and happy when you're alone? I suspect most religions are impressed by the danger of relationships while being largely unaware of the potential benefits, which is why so many discourage or strictly control sex with people and spirits alike. Why do you think so many discourage this practice? And then the next one is from a deleted user that just says, just had spirit sex with 2 spirits simultaneously, period. That's it. Like, this is like a very chaotic subreddit.
When you open it, there's just like 2 pictures of like AI hentai dudes with like boners, and like people are upvoting it, and then there's someone asking like, is having sex with an AI spirit sex? And that one I was like kind of deep. I was like, what the fuck? Actually, I don't know. Do you think AI has a spirit? Probably not. But what if it could? What if it became like a tulpa? You know, that's crazy. This is definitely a super divided subreddit. There's some people in there that are like actually doing like pagan sex magic, and then there's other people in there that are like cosplaying as doing pagan sex magic, and like it's just horny. Okay. Let me read this one from Persephone Within 1982. It says, Mysterious Romantic Protector. For many years now, I have had a deeply romantic relationship with a spirit. He and I have had astral sex, and when we do, I feel so loved. I've never felt so loved in my life. The sex is very gentle and soft, and I feel light. It's like floating, like I'm weightless. Nothing exists except for he and I, and love and pleasure. He is attentive, gentle, thoughtful, almost unselfish. The way he makes me feel is amazing. So much pleasure, but even more love. The love is so overwhelming. My chest vibrates and tingles and even feels warm. It feels good. My entire body feels good when he loves me, but I'm not sure who or what he is. I recently learned that he's possibly my spirit guide, but I don't know much about him. I just know the form he takes and the energy that is him. How can I learn more about him? He lets me call him James. It's crazy, but I'm in love with him. How do I get to know James better? I'm not sure if he's a spirit I created from a spell cast when I was much younger, or if he's something else. I've created a thought form when I was 17 named James. He's been in my life since then, but I recently have honed my extrasensory abilities, and that's when the astral sex began. I'm not sure what to think. How can I find out? I feel like, is it taboo to have sex with your spirit guide? Is that like having sex with your boss? Is that weird? Is that
Power
fine?
dynamics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, part of me hearing all these stories is like, well, whatever floats your boat. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. And then like the little voice at the back of my head is like, but is this actually damaging to real relationships in the physical world? Like, is any opportunity to not interact in a meaningful way with like physical people that you know for a fact are actually in front of you, does that just like actually harm us as a society because it makes us more detached from each other? It's kind of how I feel about when we did our ChatGPT psychosis episode earlier this year, when we were talking specifically about the replica AI, which is like the horny romantic AI that people will have an AI boyfriend or an AI girlfriend. And I know Nat and I had done an episode on Patreon last year where we were just talking about like, what are the moral implications of robots in general, like robot girlfriends, once we do reach the point where they're physical and you can touch them and be with them. Part of me is like, well, maybe that's good, because there are people who will never have a single partner or friend or family member at all in their lives, and they still deserve companionship. And so maybe it's good in those circumstances. And then there's another part of me that's like, actually, this is really horrible, because now it's just, again, another excuse to not interact with anybody, to not develop human empathy, to not have real relationships, and to not like get outside of your comfort zone ever. So I don't know. This again, to me, like I'm still on the fence about sex magic. The stuff Mimi said about the power dynamics in Hollywood and how that could be a form of sex magic, that got me really excited, thinking about like, ooh, like that's kind of juicy, right? Like that's something that I can like really envision. The rest of this stuff is making me kind of sad and bummed out from this subreddit in particular, because it's like, oh my God, somebody's just generating AI images of dudes with boners in hot tubs because they want to believe that they're actually doing okay. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to feel about this. Part of me is like, get on a dating app, meet a person, and do sex magic together. But I don't know. But then the other part of me is like, don't be so judgmental. Who cares if they're having sex with a ghost? The ghosts need to have sex too.
I will say, like, if you're on your hustle and grind, like having sex with a ghost or a spirit is probably the move, because a relationship takes so much conversation and tending. It's like a fire you constantly have to tend to. But if you're just like on that hustle and grind life, I could see how having a spirit to have sex with would be like super attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to cuddle afters.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe that's how you get haunted, because you're like, you're just using me for sex. You just treat me like a spirit that can just be used for sex.
But like, what are the boundaries there too? Like, if you have this relationship with this ghost, but then you bring somebody from the real world in, like, how do you make sure they're not getting in between?
Right. It sounds like a good way to get haunted. If you
Yeah.
have sex with a spirit and then you get like a real relationship, or, you know, go even with a sex worker or something, is your spirit, girlfriend, boyfriend, spirit, whatever it's called, are they going to be jealous? Are they going to be like, you know what? Fuck you and your dreams. I know all of them, and I'm going to make sure none of them happen.
You know what? That's such a good point, Natalia, because up until now, it seems like we're really talking about how to make things that you desire come true. But could this actually very easily spin out of control if you got a jealous spirit involved in the ceremony, the ritual? And now not only is your intention that you set not coming true for sure, but also is this thing going to sabotage you for the rest of your life? Like, how do you break up with the spirit? How do you, to your point, Mimi, like, how do you figure out what the boundaries of this relationship are? And so, yeah, could you then, if you were naive and just trying this for fun, could you very easily find yourself in a horrible situation? Damned, perhaps, to like never be able to accomplish anything for the rest of your life.
Yeah. My feelings are complicated because, like, on the one hand, is this just a way for ugly people to feel loved? Maybe. And like, I have a lot of respect for ugly people. I know they work really hard and they're usually pretty trustworthy. So I'm like, you know, they should feel loved too. So in some ways I think it's good, but also, yeah, I mean, I think it's just like it's like the AI conversation. It's like, if this is going to keep someone from being a school shooter to like feel synthetic sort of love, if you're a skeptic, or real love from a spirit or a tulpa or an imaginary friend or whatever, then like maybe it's good. And on the one hand, it's not that much different from just like having sex with a quote unquote spirit. It's not that much different than like listening to a smut book and like having the imagined version of the character in your mind, right? And then like, you know, pleasuring yourself to that, or making up fake scenarios in your mind and pleasuring yourself to that. Like, is that not also a form of spirit sex? I guess we need to be like Elle Woods here and define what a spirit is.
And what are the like logistics? Like how much are they giving? How much are you giving? Like, what's happening in that sense? Like,
I see what you mean, and I feel like we need to read this one because it might answer your questions. This one is from a deleted user, so I feel like they felt shame after they wrote this. It's called, I love my beloved. My beloved can take on any form imaginable and unimaginable, to the point it breaks all of my senses, tearing me apart simply to build me. An immaculate love, devoid of any pain, since it swallows all suffering, felt through the most sacred of sex, melting into another, feeling an otherness within you, one with the sea, severing the twilight. Her shine is of quicksilver, star glimmer in the vibrant, empty night. Her skin is of glass containing a chill fire, and when she's within me, I burn in a most intoxicating brightness. Her body annihilates me with its omnipresence. I never want to be shattered to normalcy. Blind me, make me the impossible. Love me always. Revirago.
Did an AI robot write that?
Yeah. I don't know. What would you... I know Aly is not having any of this. And Aly, what would you do if you got a nice letter like that from someone who loved you, who's called you their beloved and praised you for taking on any form imaginable and said your love makes them devoid of any pain, it swallows all suffering? I feel like in general Alyssa is like uncomfortable with that level of affection, so I'm just curious.
I would break up with them. That's not something I'm interested in. I don't ever want to receive a letter like that ever in my life. I think it's one thing to have like positive affirmations that are like, you're so beautiful, I love hanging out with you, I think that you're a wonderful person, I love this hobby, or I love this aspect about you, but yeah, that was giving a little too much fedora for my liking.
Right, when someone propositions you to make them the impossible, it's a huge weight on your shoulders. Like, I don't know if I can carry this torch, you know?
It also just feels like putting myself in that position. I would be like, oh, you don't know me at all. Because this is like an idealized version of love or a relationship. I feel like I just wouldn't believe it. I'd be like, you're either insane or, well, yeah, you for sure have to be insane to write something like that. But yeah, I would just be like, you're not even paying attention to me. Like, this could be about anybody. This is just a bunch of like, idealized things. And it comes back to them. I feel like it's like, oh, this is a love letter, but it's really all about me at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very obsessive. But like, I don't know if I guess...
Do you guys like being love bombed or no?
No.
I think I like it, not like that. I think I like it in the sense of like gifts and affection and like, oh my God, you're the most beautiful person in the world, or like, this is amazing. Like that level of praise I like. But I also think I'm conscious of being love bombed, where I'm like, what is the purpose of this?
Mm-hmm. What do you want?
This is not...
Yeah.
And I think there's a place in a relationship where a little love bombing is normal. Like, I think when you're first falling in love with someone, if you don't love bomb each other a little bit, it's like, what, this is the best part, bruh. What are you doing? You know?
Or could a ghost have used sex magic on that person to make them obsessive enough to write something like that?
Great point, Mimi.
Shit.
Great
so
point.
Wait, Mimi, following that point, we say soulmates, right? Like, it's kind of, we don't know, like, people, like that song, people fall in love in mysterious ways. Like, is that ghost trying to unite certain people, and the ghost is doing sex magic in order to bring about the New World Order?
It's matchmaking.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure we made a joke about this in like season 2 of our show, where we were like, what if there was a Tinder, but for spirits that need a flesh vessel in order to carry out whatever unfinished business they have. Like, and it would be, I forget what the name we had for it was, but it was like, yeah, if somebody who wants to be possessed and then a spirit that needs to possess something in order to like be able to move on to the next side, that would be the best form of Tinder. And maybe that is sex magic, because to become one, or whatever that song is, you know, like maybe the act of sex magic is actually just a spirit getting inside of a human to be able to carry out whatever their agenda is. But us as mere mortals, we don't even perceive it that way. We're just like, wow, I have this really cool erotic relationship with this spirit. Meanwhile, in our sleep, we're like sleepwalking down to the morgue to do, I don't know, to like carve a sigil into a coffin.
Yeah. I do think that sex is a very powerful motivator. And I do feel, especially for myself, I have felt that using sex as a motivator, not just the physical act of sex, but the implication of it, like to be sexually desired by someone or to be seen as attractive by someone, I feel like has its own sort of power, you know? And so I could see sex magic being real, like in the sense that you can manifest things for yourself by using your art of seduction, not just like sex, like not just like oh, this person wants to have sex with me, so I'm gonna get what I want, but more like understanding how to pull the strings on people, you know, seduce them into getting your way. Does that make sense? Like you go into a courtroom and you deliver this beautiful you know, dissertation, and it frees your client from having to serve life in prison because you got a twinkle in your eye and you made contact with this one person who was just on the edge of their seat and they were just loving what you were talking about. And that one person on the jury was the person who changed the whole trajectory.
Yeah, it could very well be. I think part of the disconnect for me is like, okay, so if the entire time I'm doing the sex act, I have to just be keeping my intention in my mind at the forefront of my mind, like, I really want someone to come over to my house tomorrow while it's raining with a bucket of KFC, like, and that's all I'm focusing on the whole time, then like, how can you really be in the moment? And isn't the whole point of having like of sex and having good sex is like being in the moment and forgetting about like problems you're having or like responsibilities or things that you want or that you wish you had or that you feel bitter about, or I don't know, whatever the case is? Doesn't that kind of take away from some of what makes sex fun and enjoyable?
Yeah, that makes it then a chore.
Yeah, it's like a job. I don't know.
I think sex for some people, though, it can kind of like transcend beyond just like what you think of as sex. Like I'm thinking specifically like in BDSM, right? Or like there's certain types of kinks like humiliation or financial domination where it's literally not a sex act at all. Like someone could be buying something for you, or someone could just be calling you a fat piece of shit and it would like get you off just because like the dynamic of it, of like, oh, someone is I don't know, like stepping on my coattails in my palace, and like I don't know. I think so. Maybe it's just, or also if you're someone who kind of has that sort of kink, like maybe getting money makes you horny. So like the thought of like, oh, I'm going to have this car I want, or I'm going to have this house I want, or I'm going to be on the cover of this magazine I want, might kind of like get you in the mood if those are things that you really desire, because it's like maybe the desires, it's like a horseshoe, right? Like on this side is like the sexual desire of pure pleasure and just physical, and we're just talking about the mechanics of sex, like the muscles and the organs. And then on this side, all the way over here, opposite on the side of the horseshoe, is the psychological level of it, of getting your desire. They're both desire on one side, or maybe they're not both desire. Maybe desire is totally different than like the physical aspect, but there's some like jump from one side to the other, kind of like people who are fighting, like couples who are fighting will sometimes like have great makeup sex, because it's like the jump from like the intensity of the fighting is so close to the intensity of like the sex, or I don't know. You guys, I'm not a fucking scientist, okay? And I'm not a fucking scientist.
Yeah, you're doing great. This is reminding me of a listener story that we got. I don't remember what season this was, but I do remember somebody wrote into us saying that they were dating somebody and they had to break up with them because they felt like they were doing sex magic on them. And I don't think it was ever explained. I think it was just like, this person, I felt like every time we were having sex, they were like manipulating something spiritually in the room with me, and like I didn't feel safe. And I wish I could, oh God, I wish I could find that email just like immediately and be able to recite it back. But yeah, and so maybe that's also coloring my perspective on quote unquote sex magic, because the only story I've heard of from somebody that like seemingly has firsthand experience and isn't just a name on the internet in a weird way, like they actually wrote to us about an experience, it like seemed like it was negative. So I guess maybe that's like I already have this preconceived belief based on how powerful that email was, because I just remember that person saying like it was like very impactful in a negative way to them, and they really had to get out of this toxic relationship. So yeah, maybe if there's anyone out there who's listening to our show who has had sex magic and had a positive experience from it, definitely write into us. You can go to letsgethaunted.com, and on our homepage there is a fillable form, and you can write into us for a future listener stories episode. Tell me everything. I'm really curious and interested, because I feel like I'm still not quite getting it. And I feel like it's almost like when you're in class and you're trying to learn a new subject, like calculus, and you're like, how did you solve for X? Like, I'm not understanding. There's just like a piece that's not clicking for me. And then you have to go to a tutor. So maybe it's similar. Maybe like there are sex magic tutors out there that can write into us and explain it and send me a PowerPoint so that I can understand how you get from point A to point B. And also, if you've had a negative sex magic experience, I definitely want to hear about it too.
I think, too, part of it, Aly, might just be the nature of magic itself. Like, a lot of, like, spell work is adaptable to the person who is creating the spell. So, like, for one person to get their intention, they might use different ingredients than another person, or maybe it's the same intention for two people. Like, one is to make it easy, like, you know, to get $1 million. And maybe the spell work for one person is like, okay, I'm going to put my grandmother's ring in the middle because that is like a symbol to me of everything that I ever wanted, wealth, and to be able to connect to my ancestors and to have family wealth that can be passed on. To me, that's representative of what I want, is this ring. So I'm going to like make it a part of the ritual. Where to someone else, it might literally be like a stack of cash, because they're like, this is what the money is going to feel like in my hands, and this is what I see, you know? And so they literally have like a stack of cash, and maybe they like burn it or some shit to be the sacrifice to bring in more or whatever. I don't think magic is exactly like math in the sense that it can be kind of subjective. They tell us math is not subjective, so maybe that's the difference.
Mimi, what are your thoughts?
But maybe we don't understand it because we've never been infiltrated and like we've never experienced.
You've never been like obsessed with someone who was a dick to you? You've never had like a fuckboy fuck your life up?
Oh no, I
because they were, like,
absolutely
had
have.
good sex?
Absolutely.
I feel like that could be it, right?
Yeah, but like what was the magic of that? It just sucked. You know?
Oh,
well, I guess maybe it was their magic. They got the magic. I would be curious to talk to like a sex worker who is familiar with sex magic and like how that works. Because like that, I feel like what a way to harness it.
Yeah.
That for it to be your profession. Like,
I would imagine that you would just be focusing on that client coming back and giving you more money. That would probably be the easiest.
Yeah.
Well, you reached out to some people and asked them for interviews, right? So maybe by the time this goes live, we'll have an interview with somebody with firsthand experience about sex magic. I am interested. I do think it's an interesting topic. I would like to know more. I think that I just have some sort of mental block around it where I'm not fully understanding it. But I do think I have a better understanding of it now than I did at the beginning of this episode. So well done, Natalia. I think that there's like, this is something where I'm going to be falling asleep tonight and I'm going to be like, oh, that's the piece that I was not understanding. I get it now. And I am also curious to have people comment on the photo dump for this week's episode at Let's Get Haunted on Instagram so that I can, see what all of you thought. Are you getting it? Are you not getting it? Have you met somebody that practiced sex magic? Do you practice sex magic? Leave all of your thoughts for sure. And also in the Spotify comments as well.
You guys, so that's my episode. Like I said, I reached out for several interviews and everyone was real sussed out by me. Mods were deleting my comments like almost immediately. And so I was like, okay, so I can't do self-promotion. So I can't like really claim that I'm not just a freak wanting to, talk to people who are about their sex lives. But so I was trying all these different ways. I was like, I am writing an episode for a award-winning paranormal research podcast, like about this topic. The mods would delete it, and then I would be like, I listened to an award-winning paranormal podcast, and am curious about this topic. Would anyone talk to me? And so I don't know.
Yeah, mods are very strict about the no self-promotion rule. I feel like you would have, maybe the trick is to write a comment saying, I've been researching this topic. These are the parts of it that stick out to me that I don't fully understand. Does anyone want to weigh in? And then when people respond, you can just DM them and be like, would you want to come on my podcast?
Okay, that's a good idea. Mimi, before we go, is there anything that stuck out to you? Did we traumatize you with this episode?
No, you left me with a lot to think about. I feel like I'm not traumatized. I have it. This went in a completely different way than I thought it was going to go. But yeah, I'm good job. Good job.
Thanks.
This is very fun.
All of the things that I read about it were like, my sex magic worked too much, or like, my sex magic is working like crazy. And I was thinking about it. I was like, if this shit works, and all you have to do is sex magic to get everything you ever wanted, it's like too good to pass up. But the probability of getting haunted might be pretty high because, like we said, you're opening the door for all kinds of strange things. So maybe it's like a backfiring thing. And then maybe that's why like the fuckboy situations are the way they are, because like the sex is so strong, but there's like no intention, because it's like they won't ever set clear boundaries of like, hey, we're dating or we're not dating or this is just sex. And they, and so maybe that's why it always backfires, because it's like you don't know what the point of the sex is.
I think too, everybody has sex. I'm going to go ahead and say like 95% of people on Earth probably have sex. So to me, I'm like, okay, if sex magic is just you're having sex and then stuff happens, if it's good, then like, why isn't there more crazy shit happening around us all the time? Because so many people are doing it. You know what I mean? Whereas like the other magic rituals that we've talked about in the past is like, okay, I carved a pentagram in the floor and then I put this wolf's bane on one corner and then a cauldron in the middle and then I put it under the full moon. Like, it seems more complicated to do traditional magic that we've covered in the past. So I'm like, okay, I mean, it could be true. Maybe it is true. But why am I not seeing like crazy shit flying around all the time? I don't know.
I've seen some crazy shit, though.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe the UFOs were brought upon by the sex magic. Maybe in 2020, during the pandemic, everyone was fucking because there was nothing else to do. And it created
UFOs.
The UFOs.
Wow. Yeah. That could be it.
Mimi, would you like to do a callback and do our sign-off as a reminder? Do you know how to do it, or you need a refresher?
I listen all the time, guys. Okay. All right. BRB. Gotta go harness my sex magic, but not too hard.
Hell yeah. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Welcome to the closing credits for episode 240, Sex Magic. This month, we would love to give a warm, heartfelt thank you to our Patreon donors who donated to us in the month of September 2025, letters A through G. If you would like to become a donor and hear your personal name shouted out on a future episode, head over to patreon.com/c/letsgethaunted, where you're not only going to get a shout out, you're also going to get access to episodes extras, minisodes, personal hauntings, live streams, and so much more, including our New York vlog where we saw a billboard this month. Oh my God, you guys, this week we would like to thank Sailor Doom, at Fredo, Ab Wally, Abigail A, Ace G, Adrian L, Alana E, Alaya, Alberto O, Alicia L, Ali B, Alessa MCN, Alessandro Kasi, Alex GJ, Alex H, Alex Q, Alex W, Alex WY, ... Alexandria, Alexis S, Alice JL, Olivia, ! Allegra B, Alan Cantation, Alonzo, Ali B, Ali T, Alicia, Alyasye, Alasye, Amanda P, Amanda S, Amber F, Amber Alert 42069, Andrew B, Angel W, Anita K, Anne Marie T, Ann D, Annie T, Answered S, Anthony W, AP Trip, Archie F, Arden Strander, Artsy Starkey, Ashley D, Ashley J, Ashley W, Aubrey, Auburn R, Avery K, Bambi Bia, Beatrice, Becca, Bella Q, Benjamin S, Billy R, Boob 42069, Bookshift Managed, Bradley M, Brenna L, Bree E, Brianna C, Bree P, Brielle, Brittany S, Bronal, Brooke, Bucket M, Caitlin D, Cal E, Callum H, Camille's a cat, Captain L Calico, Caroline L, Cassidy M, Cassie L, Kathleen R, Celeste L, Cetus, Chatty Watty the Puddin' Patty, Chance the Reaper, Chanel C, Chaotic Bat, Charles C, Charlie M, Cheesy, Cherry D, Chicken, Chloe H, Chloe L, Christina T, Christopher M, Christopher O, Christy H, Coraline, Corruptive Jade, Christian P, Criley, Crystal C, Cursed Gravy, Dallas C, Dan the Blacksmith, Dana C, Dania SNC, Daniel D, Danny T, Daff, ! David B, Diana B, DiGiorno Flocka, Dodie, Doralee N, Drop Shadow, Drose, Echo R, Ed B, El Duderino, Elizabeth P, Ellie, Emily B, Emily O, Emily R, Emily W, Emily C, Emma D, M Storm, Erica M, Erica A, Felicia G, Fenrir U, Fox in Socks, Frank D, Fred H, Freddie F, Fresh Z, Gabrielle, Ghoul Girl Taylor, Ghost of 7-Eleven, and Grandma Painter. Thank you guys so much for giving us your hard-earned dollars and sharing in the haunted love with us. I've said it once before and I'll say it again. I love you guys. I need this so much more than you guys need this. Like, I don't think you understand how much I need this. This November, I want to learn to run like an alpha. You know how they do this thing? And now we've come to the part of the episode where we get the secret password. You guys, things have changed. Now you can also comment the secret password on the Spotify comments underneath the episodes. Yep. And if you comment on the Instagram photo dump and the Spotify comments, you're going to have 2 chances to be entered into the raffle. That means you have doubled your chances of winning the secret prize at the end of the season, which is rapidly approaching, guys. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on this one. It's going to be a absolute banger. So don't forget to comment alpha. Bye, bitch.